Good afternoon and welcome to our second edition of Around the Grounds on behalf of Nutrien Ag Solutions and Nutrien Livestock, where today we'll be touching base with some of our key operatives across the southeast region of Australia and working our way from Gippsland into central western Victoria and then across to South Australia. And in order this afternoon, we'll be introducing Ben Greenwood from Nutrien GWL at Sale, and then heading across to Casterton, where Greg Bright will give an insight of Casterton and the surrounding area, and then we'll be finishing off in South Australia with Mr. Gordon Wood on behalf of Nutrien Livestock and Stud Stok. Okay, so kicking off the wrap around the grounds this afternoon, I'd like to introduce Ben Greenwood. Welcome, Ben.
Thanks, Adam. As Adam said, Ben from Nutrien Greenwood in Sale. Currently our area, we're experiencing some pretty good rainfall at the moment. So over the weekend and the last few days, there's falls anywhere between 20 and sort of up to 60 mils in the area. South of Sale, sort of our grazing sort of areas, was looking for a shower of rain. It was starting to sort of get pretty dry. So this rain has been pretty welcome to us, and people were hanging out for it. So you go the other side, more further east, they'd had some good rainfall and the season was moving forward fairly well. So we've had a much welcome rain in the local area. There's a big catchment on the McAllister Irrigation District. Our irrigators are getting a full water allocation. They're getting spillage water early. So your dairy guys, your vegetable growers, a few of our fatteners are taking good advantage of that at the moment. Season-wise, our stocking rates, there's as much as anywhere are well back. We've had some pretty successful store sales locally of late, with each fortnight or each month, our monthly store sales seems to hit a new high. When you just think it can't get any dearer, it sort of goes to another level. Our store calves are starting to run out in the local area, generally just because people have needed that bit of cash flow and have had to sell. But we've got enormous amount of feed starting to build up in the area, and it's looking much promising that we have in the last couple of years. Sucker lambs have just started to hit our markets. The problem we have here, we've got probably a fair few heavy export lambs in the area. We normally target a trade market for our local sort of trade job. So, we're going to have a lot of heavy lambs, which we're going to have to sort of probably hook and move into other areas to sort of take advantage of. Store lambs, we've just been on the box this morning chasing store lambs for a number of people, and that's a challenge at the moment. We're on the hunt for ewe lambs. We pushed out a mob to $310 there of local ones on the box today. So, that's probably where we're at with things here. We've got a store sale. Our next lit flush of decent numbers, I think, of store calves will come in December. The few that are left now, people will take advantage of the feed and the grass that's in the paddock and push them right up until, those closer to Christmas markets and offer probably a big run then.
Excellent. Ben, it's it would seem a world apart year on year to where you found yourself this time last year in Sale and the surrounding districts, and you would have queued up for 20 to 60 mil of rain, which has fallen at your market centre there this morning. This time last year, it's quite a turnaround for your district, leading to obviously buoyant returns, but it'd be a real opportunity, I guess, for your clientele to start the rebuild for breeding numbers too, Ben, wouldn't it?
It is, yeah. So we are on the real rebuild. We have bought some stock in, but people, probably the COVID pandemic put a whole level of nervousness into producers, and probably a few that would have taken the plunge. It's sort of, they've hung off that extra 3 or 4 or 6 months than they normally would have. And I think the market's sort of hit a level where they're just sitting on the fence and not quite prepared to sort of pay those extreme rates. So it is a challenge. We do have a lot of feed about, but just probably not in a position to take advantage of it. But some of them, like a lot of the country south of Sale, blew very bad over the summer. Some of them are happy to just sort of take the slow road and let the country rejuvenate, and the challenge is getting back in, and which is same for everyone everywhere at the minute.
Yeah, exactly right. I think the sentiments there that you mentioned there, everybody looking on Auctions Plus this morning or this afternoon trying to source some young breeders. I think we could have that conversation with any of our operatives in the southeast. It's been quite a busy platform in recent times, and seeing some outstanding results. It's a really buoyant platform at the moment.
Yep, I hope so. We've got a good draft of the McLaughlin family. 150 PDIC heifers will offer sort of early December. So they're outstanding Angus herd, probably one of the best herds in the district. So be interesting to see how they go on the box. So yeah, stay tuned on those sorts of cattle. Our December stall sale, November, we're going to be light on the numbers. December, we'll have a very good lick. And then, yeah, we won't have any. Last year I was scurrying around moving stall lambs as quick as anything. Now we've got heavy export lambs, but yeah, no big numbers of them. So it's quite the contrast.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, congratulations on the year thus far, Ben, and you've got a terrific selling season ahead of you as we move towards late spring and into the summer. So all the best for the remainder of the season, and thanks for joining us this afternoon.
Good, Adam. Thanks.
No worries at all. Thanks to Ben Greenwood from Nutrien GWL at Sale. Next in line, as we head across to the west of the state of Victoria, we'd like to introduce Mr. Greg Bright from Nutrien Ag Casterton. Welcome, Greg.
Thank you very much.
Greg, just a bit of an introduction. How are things looking in Casterton at the moment?
Adam, I suppose like a lot of other places in Victoria and New South Wales, Adam, it's as good as we've had for a long, long time. The dry winter here actually suits us a little bit. A late-ish start in the autumn, but it wasn't disastrous. A dry winter, and then you get spring rains with not a real flood, but not far away from a good dash of rain there about 3 or 4 weeks ago. It's and the grass now is as good as we've seen it for a long, long time. Turned into a real cracker, to be quite honest, because it didn't get too wet and pogged up and everything like that. And now we've got grass and water in dams where we didn't think we were going to get water in dams there earlier on. Now we have got water in dams, and the river's up and the river's running, and it looks like it'll be a cracking springtime.
Fantastic. And Greg, as we just finished with Ben there before, it was the season in East Gippsland's piles apart from where it was this time last year. You were a little bit more fortunate in Casterton, but no doubt with the buoyant season ahead of you, you're also on the rebuild for numbers. Yeah,
we are. We probably weren't decimated as much as a lot of other areas, and it is a very much a breeder area. It's not so the core breeders were basically clipped. Yes, we did lose a few cows from various places and a few older ewes, but we're probably in the market for breeders, but not as bad as a lot of other areas were. Right. But our nucleus was still pretty strong, really.
Yes, yep. And just given the current, I guess, seasonal conditions and also the current market conditions, particularly if we put our sheep and lamb hat on at the moment, how far away from any major numbers of lambs are you, Greg, in your part of the world?
I would say 4 weeks at least.
Okay.
And I would say middle to late November we'll start to run a few lambs, but as normal it'll be December. But I can see us still having lambs at Christmas this year unless something completely changes, a complete dry spell from now on, which doesn't look like it'll be. But no, I think we'll be running right up to Christmas and the other side of Christmas this year, which is not normal, but we're not in a normal year.
No, we're certainly not. Certainly not. And the lambs that you've seen thus far are up and about?
They're good. Yeah, they are. Yeah, I wouldn't say, probably a bit different to Ben. We will have a few heavyweights. Yes, we do have a few heavyweights, but we have been and continue to sort of try, the heavy trade, the end of that market rather than go the full hog with the export market. We go that heavy trade, 23, 24 kilos, somewhere in that sort of range. It takes a fair swag of our numbers out. It normally works out pretty good for us. So that's what we've been doing the last few years. And I don't think that'll change this year. We might have a few more heavies that fall out the top end, which instead of having less store lambs. So I'd say we had a fair run of store lambs last year, but I don't think we'll have many store lambs this year.
Yeah, right. Well, that it all augurs well for a buoyant selling season ahead for yourself, also, Greg. And
it does.
Just touching on some of the marketing, I guess, that you've displayed in your area in recent times. We noticed last Monday you had a store cattle sale at Casterton, which was interfaced with Auctions Plus. Just talk us through that and how that went.
Huge success. Yeah, yeah, it was fantastic. Our support from other branches, plus other people that don't normally buy at yards, because they could look at on Auctions Plus, get a good description, get blokes from Outcross do a fantastic job. They took videos of all the cattle running through the ring. I thought they looked absolutely sensational, and it just worked really, really well. It was something we'd been going to do, and we just thought the time factor is going to be an issue, but we're just going to get our cattle in earlier, have the time to do it properly, and it was a hell of a sale. It really was. Like, I think they nearly averaged $4.40 over the whole lot. Like, and it's just, yeah. And it's just, it's just very, very, very strong. So it was a fantastic sale.
And Greg, given the refinement now that you've put into place and handling that number of cattle last week for that initial store sale and interfacing, do you see that's something that you'll take forward into the weaner calf selling season into 2021?
Casterton sales will be interfaced with Auctions Plus from now on.
Yep, fantastic.
All sales. Yep. It just makes sense. It opens up your avenues to more buyers. And you've got to do it right, and we do it right. We weigh them properly. They're not, they're properly curfewed, properly weighed, and I believe we do a pretty good job of drafting. That's Andrew and Rick that do that, and they do a great job. So I just think we'll do it properly and open up the avenues to everybody else to get our calves and any other store stock, to be quite honest.
No, that's great, and congratulations on your result there, particularly last Monday. That was exceptional, and was
great.
Well viewed by the network. There's no doubt about that. So well done to yourself and your team.
Thank you.
And good luck with the selling season ahead.
All right. Thanks. Best wishes to everybody, and hopefully the selling season stays the way it is now. It'd be great.
Good on you. Thanks very much, Greg.
Thanks, Adam. Thank you.
All right. We now cross the border, which not many of us have been able to do in recent times, but we now head to South Australia, where we'd catch up with Gordon Wood from Nutrien Stud Stok and Livestock at Strathalbyn. Good afternoon, Gordon, and welcome.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks very much. It's a great initiative, this around the grounds, I think, and just gives people a bit of an insight into a bit more closely as to what's happening in people's own rural patch.
For sure. Thanks for that, Gordon. And you've travelled a lot of the country over the last 6 or 8 weeks, particularly with your stud stock duties, and done plenty of ram sales over the state of South Australia. And you might be able to give us a bit of an insight as to how the sales have gone. I think we're well aware of the successes, but more so, how the country's been looking, how the clients have been on the ground, and the positivity in the marketplace in SA at the moment.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. Certainly no surprise to people when I'll say that the start of our season was we were apprehensive or a little bit shaky, to say the least, with as we're all abundantly aware, with the COVID-19 restrictions put in place and state borders closing and all sorts of stuff we really didn't need happening, and some of that's still in place. But all in all, you're right, our sales have been abundantly successful and well and truly above where we anticipated we may have been. Just, we had a few things against us earlier, particularly in those merino sales, with the wool job coming off pretty sharply, the Chinese interest dwindling every day. But all in all, I think our merino sales at the end were probably 10 to 15% above on our average price from last year, with really solid clearances. And then moving as the sales went on into the British breds and terminals and whatnot, it's actually just got stronger and stronger as we've gone along. So our stud sales across the state, I think we'll finish up on, just started telling some numbers this morning, only the early sales, but I think we'll finish up close to sort of 15, 17, maybe even 20% above in gross over the whole sale period, which is a fantastic result. As far as the season goes across SA, we were with everyone else in July. We all had dry July. Some of us took part in that because they wanted to cleanse the liver or something, what have you. But Mother Nature came along and really did make a dry July, and that was sales were starting to look like they might tighten up. And however, we've most of the country and most of South Australia, including some of our pastoral zones, have had considerable rains in the last couple of weeks or 3 weeks and further. And that's, some of those guys haven't had rain, or any rain to speak of, for 3 to 5 years. So there's a big rebuild on the way, as a lot of people will be aware is happening in a lot of parts of Australia right now, which is putting a lot of pressure on purchasing of replacement, whether it be sheep or cattle, or really anything with 4 legs and a mouth to put onto feed and capitalise on. So it's interesting times ahead. General consensus out there, I think, from the farmers and producers' perspective, is that there is a lot of confidence in the livestock industry, particularly in sheep and lambs. People have made good returns out of lambs and sheep for over a decade now, and they're certainly willing to reinvest in that. Our stud sales were quite interesting this season, Adam, with obviously a lot of sales that were close to the border. We were having to utilise online selling platforms such as Auctions Plus predominantly. That was taken up really, really well, up to Ridgeway Advance, I think 170 rams. We had 341 bids online. So so that's certainly worthwhile, and particularly with a vendor who only 14 or 10 days out from the sale wasn't sure whether to use an online platform or not. But I think he realises now what the capabilities of some of these things are. One of the things that's really highlighted from having restrictions in place in attendance of sales, and therefore you would use the online platforms, has been people's willingness and to trust in data, performance data, and people willing to or wanting to learn more about it and understand it and utilise those sciences that are available to us as agents and also to the producers. So it's something I think we really need to be mindful of as agents, and whether you're new to the business or been in the industry for all of your life, and that could be decades, I think it's really worth looking at performance data. If you don't understand it or don't understand what ASBVs are or breed plan in cattle, then I'd suggest asking some people about it, because it's as time forges on, we're only going to see more and more of that need and wants for performance data. As I read recently, someone said, without data, you're just another person with an opinion.
Yeah, so true. Excellent. That's great advice, Gordon, to our network out there to broaden their skill set and utilise the services that are out there and really become expert in the field, because we're in a changing marketplace, there's no doubt about that, and certainly the use of A+ has certainly opened up our buyer network, and that might come in just as handy from a purchasing front, given now, as you say, the central and north of your state have received significant rain. So,
indeed.
Excellent. Very good. Well, thanks very much, Gordon, for your input this afternoon, and that now completes and wraps up our second edition of Around the Grounds. So on behalf of Nutrien Ag Solutions and Nutrien Livestock, I'd like to sincerely thank our participants this afternoon, Ben Greenwood from Nutrien Sale, Greg Bright from Nutrien Casterton, and Gordon Wood from Nutrien Stud Stok in Strathalbyn, South Australia. So thank you guys for your participation, and we look forward to getting this broadcast out to the network and compiling our third instalment in a couple of weeks' time. Thanks very much.